Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're here giving our NFL division winner picks. We're going to come back to them at the end of the season and prove to you guys that we know ball. And you can't teach that. Bada boom, man. The people in the room, G Money Grant Mitchell. How you doing?
I'm feeling old, Tanner. At 27 years old, it's finally starting to catch up with me. Had some out-of-town friends come down, stay with me and the lady this weekend. We went out, a couple late nights, getting some beverages, going to sleep late, and I feel like I aged 20 years overnight. So my body, I just can't bounce back like I used to when I was a younger man.
I didn't drink this weekend, but I watched UFC till 2 a.m. and my recovery was really low on my Whoop. Shout out Whoop. No free shout outs, but shout out Whoop. So I am feeling very tired today as well, but we're grinding for the people, Grant. Wait, when did you turn 27? I thought you were 26.
No, I'm 27. I'm closer to 28 than I am 27. My birthday's in January.
January. Okay. So you're only a couple years, months younger than me. Months. Yeah. Wow. We're the same age, Grant. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. And you started off as my boss. Who would have thought?
I know. I was the big intern leader over at Noop Solutions, Sports 2.0 Network. But now we're big time here on Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. So, Grant, tell the people why they need to subscribe to WSN.com and the Ride the Line podcast.
Well, 100%. You got to hit that subscribe button, guys, because Tanner and I, we're not putting this content out and we're not talking to the empty walls behind our cameras right now for no reason. We're here to share the storylines, have some laughs, but with NFL season around the corner, that means that we're also going to be sharing some picks like we are in today's video. So if you're into that, you got to hit that subscribe button, and you also got to go to WSN.com, where again, Tanner, myself, and the whole team of experts, we got picks for every major sport there is and even some minor sports as well. And this is the big one. We got sportsbook bonus codes. So profit boost, bonus bets, all the great stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. You will get it over there at WSN.com. So check it out.
This is the worst time of the year, in my opinion. Like, we're almost there, but we're not there yet. I know we've brought that up on the show. I feel like now the storylines are starting to fade a little bit, and we're just waiting for football games to actually begin. Like, I can't tell you how many times Fox last night ran the Ohio State, Texas, week one preview during the commercials for the Bears game. Shout out Caleb Williams. Looked very good. But we're just getting to that point where we don't have a lot to talk about. But on the Red Line podcast, we always have something to talk about. Before we talk about the division winners, Grant, though, I do want to ask you about this. Michael Porter Jr. has been on a media tour lately. And he said his equivalent to Jonte Porter's gambling is girls. And he's just going off. And I thought this guy was just like clean cut, doesn't say anything. So what's up with that?
Well, he was clean cut. When he was in either high school or college, he was dating a Disney star. He's from like a super Christian family. He's a very Christian man himself. Went to a private school. He was a clean guy for a long time. And he's not in scandals. Like, I'm not saying he's dirty necessarily, but some of the things he says, he's unironically one of the funniest people alive. Like him saying that your kid might come home from public school and say they feel like a cat today or whatever he said about that. He was talking about the Jonte Porter thing. He's like, yeah, this era of sports betting is crazy. You can just go out there for 10 minutes and leave with a fake injury and tell your boys to bet the under and make $10,000. That's like exactly what his brother did. That was the exact plan. And he just created it as if it was this novel concept. He had an interview with the adult movie star. He's a weird guy. And I say that lovingly because he's hilarious, but he's a weird guy.
Well, the adult movie star was funny when, he was like, she was like, you got to meet somebody in the lobby and then, do what you got to do with them. And he goes, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Like, nah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But, the thing about him was I feel like this media tour was almost to separate himself from Jonte a little bit. Like, he was talking about gambling, like gambling's not in the family.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's that he's out of Denver and he's in Brooklyn now and he's trying to capitalize on that market. I don't know.
I don't know either. But like, what's the point? Like, you already got all the money in the bank. It's all good. You don't need any more. You good?
Well, at the same point, at the same time, he's probably thinking like, I got nothing to lose. I'm a made man, so I'm gonna just go do what I want.
I'm a made man and I play for a team that's not going to do anything. So good time for Michael Porter Jr. Anyways, Grant, we got to talk about the division winners here in the NFL. We'll start in the AFC East. Buffalo Bills -270, Patriots +550, Dolphins plus 700, New York Jets 18-1. If you want a sports betting promo code for FanDuel Sportsbook, which we're using those odds currently, we'll flop around. We'll go Caesars. We'll go Fanatics a little bit throughout the show. But if you want all those promo codes, they're on WSN.com. Grant, for me, I'm the resident Patriots guy here. Minus 270 feels too free for the Buffalo Bills.
It's definitely, I would call it unbettable. I would not bet a minus 270 future. That being said, the Bills will win this division. I don't think there's a way around it.
How do the Patriots win the division? Because if there's one team that's going to knock off the Buffalo Bills, I say it's the Patriots. With that being said, everything has to go right for them. But do you think there's a world, or give me a percentage of this world, that we get to the end of the season, the Patriots are within striking distance of the Bills for the AFC East championship?
It's something like 10%. I mean, what's the best case scenario for the Patriots? Everything goes stellar, perfect. 11-6. That's like that's an average to mediocre season for the Bills. You know what I mean? The standards are just so different there.
But I think I can make the argument that the Patriots have a better defense than the Buffalo Bills, especially with what they've done. And
well, what have they done?
Milton Williams, baby.
Oh, you mean the signings?
The signings, and they were already a good defense. Like, so I don't want to take that away from the Patriots. Like, the Patriots have had a championship caliber defense pretty much every year. Like, that's not the issue. They just can't score points. Now, offensively, the Bills' weapons, I'm not really afraid of the Bills' weapons. I'm afraid of Josh Allen. So,
well, that's how it was last year, too. And Josh won MVP. We can debate him versus Lamar, but he did have an MVP level season with the same weapons.
But now the Patriots do have some more weapons. Like, the Patriots, I think, are better in the weapon department. They're not better in the quarterback department. But if Drake May's everything you think he can be, is there a world where the Patriots can win this division? Like, there definitely is. Because if the Patriots were the Patriots of years past, 5-1 would be much longer.
I would still say it's the Bills. I'm not discounting the Patriots. I'm not saying they will be bad. But that is such a quick turnaround. And I think we're falling victim to what Jayden did with the Commanders, what CJ Stroud did with the Texans, Burrow with the Bengals. Yes, those things happen, but it does normally take time. And I don't know if Drake May is any of those three quarterbacks that I just named.
I don't think Drake May is. I'm not super high on Drake May. I think he turns the ball over a little too much. I just like what the Patriots have done. But I agree. The Bills, I said at the beginning, I think minus 270 is a pretty nice line there. It's not bettable, but it is bettable. If you want to put the funds down to bet minus 270 to win a nice chunk back, I think if you're looking at one division winner on this board who I'm like, yeah, that's one that probably is going to go in favor of the favorite, that would be the one I pick.
Okay, so we agree. We got the Bills winning the AFC East.
AFC North, Baltimore Ravens minus 150, Cincinnati Bengals plus 260, Pittsburgh Steelers plus 470, Cleveland Browns 35-1. Shedeur Sanders, can he lead the Browns to a division title this year, Grant?
I was just looking at my odds calculator to figure out what the implied probability of plus 3,500 odds is. And it means that the Browns have a 2.8% chance to win the division. And I would say that is way too high.
That is way too high. And, this is a really interesting division, right? Like, the Ravens are by far, we talked about, I think they're the best team in football. You're right up there, Ravens and Eagles, right?
Yeah.
So you look at the Bengals right now, plus 260. You look at the Steelers at plus 470. I can't get behind Aaron Rodgers, even though Aaron Rodgers is definitely good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I can get around the system, though. I can get behind the Steelers system with the Bengals. I can't get behind their defense, but they can also score 1 million points a game. So, what are the odds that one of those teams takes down the Ravens in the division?
Well, I would pick the Steelers if I'm looking for a team that's not the Ravens. Like you said, the Bengals, Joe Burrow just had one of the best seasons he could possibly have. First in yards, touchdowns, completions. I think he was like top 4 in QBR. He did everything he could. Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown. T. Higgins had career highs, and they went 9-8. So the defense probably is going to be a little bit better than last year just because they were so bad last year. But at the same time, they didn't make any big upgrades. They probably actually might have gotten worse because Trey Hendrickson apparently is not going to be playing for them. It's a new system with a new DC. We'll see what he does. But I would say a team with the higher ceiling would be the Steelers, even though I'm not a Rodgers guy at this stage of his career. And even though I'm don't want to get behind Arthur Smith. I would take the Ravens. Again, not to sound boring here because we're 2 for 2 on taking the chalk. I think the Ravens are just so clearly ahead of the rest of the NFL, aside from the Eagles in talent. So I'll take the Ravens, but I'll take the Steelers as the top challenger there.
Is Trey Hendrickson confirmed yet?
Well, so the Bengals basically have been adamant that they're not going to trade him. And then because he's continued to hold out / hold in, they finally started fielding offers a day or two ago.
Gotcha. So good for Trey Hendrickson going out, getting what he's worth. I still think that's crazy. I think it's crazy you can be under contract and I think he should lose all his money.
It's strange that a contract, it's a legally binding document that says you are going to do whatever's required of you. In this case, play football games, and the players can just not play. It's strange that works like that.
Well, eventually, and I don't know what the deal with the NFLPA and all that, but I personally think if you are under contract, you do not retire, and you still want to play football elsewhere, and you hold in and say, I'm not playing until I get an extension when you already are under a contract, I think you should be entitled to pay back the team the $30 million that they need to pay you.
Well, you will get forfeited if you're not playing in games, if you're not showing up to practices and stuff like that. You will have to forfeit the money back.
But you just don't get, your guarantees. I don't know about your guarantees, whatever. But you just don't get paid for what you're supposed to get paid this year. Like, you don't have to take out of your bank account and go back and pay them. I think you should have to pay them back instead of just not get paid. With the rise of player empowerment in the NFL and NBA specifically, I wonder if in the upcoming collective bargaining agreements, owners will try to write in there that you can't hold out, or these are the specific mechanisms for a holdout to happen so that they happen less frequently. Well, it's just not okay. It's not okay in the sense of the Bengals don't want to pay Trey Hendrickson. They have Shamar Stewart. They drafted a defensive end with the intention of probably letting him walk in a year. Like, you're under contract, you need to play. It's a disservice to the fans. It's a disservice to your teammates. And I know he wants the deal, but at the same time, you're under a contract. What is the point of having a contract if you can just be like, well, I'm not playing, field trade offers for me, and then I'll go somewhere else and I'll get my money. So,
yeah, and you have to play at least 6 games for your contract year to count. So even if he holds out all this time, he's going to have to be playing by like week 12 to make sure that his contract actually expires. Otherwise, if he just holds out all year, he's going to be a Bengal again next year. It won't count for a year on his contract.
Yeah, and probably doesn't account for a year of service time and all that. Not that that necessarily matters for him. Get a pension and all that. So anyways, Grant, the one reason I do like the Steelers, the biggest reason of them all, not over the Ravens, but if I had to pick a team in the division outside the Ravens, you know why?
Why is that?
Because Lamar Jackson cannot play football against the Steelers. He's very bad against them, and you got to win. You got to win your division games.
I hear you on that, but I do just think it's kind of like what I was talking about with the Bills. Maybe not as much of a degree of separation, but I think the Ravens roster is just so talented. I don't think they need Lamar to win games. I think Derrick Henry can win games. I think the defense can win games.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Can they win games in the playoffs? We're going to find out at the end of the season. AFC South winner. This is where it gets a little interesting. I think the Jaguars are a live dog at 3-1, but they are picked second here. Texans first plus 115. Indianapolis Colts 3-1. It's kind of disrespectful in my mind that you got the Jaguars at 3-1 and you got the Colts for 3-1, and then you got the Tennessee Titans at 7-1. That is also wildly disrespectful to every other team in this division because the Titans are going to suck. So Texans, Jags, Colts, Titans. Who's your pick?
Well, I mean, the favorites are the favorites for a reason. You have a proof of concept in place with the Texans. We know how good CJ Stroud is. We think that the offense, they went through so many injuries with Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and I forget who the other receiver was, but he got injured as well. The offensive line was a disaster. You have to think that they're going to get better because Nico is healthy at the very least to start the year. You bring in Christian Kirk, you draft Jayden Higgins and Jalen Noel. But they're kind of running into the same problem as last year, ironically. Even though they did suffer those injuries, they tried to get past a deficient offensive line by having weapons. Their offensive line, it was bad last year, and they traded Kenyon Green, which I understand because he didn't play well, but they also trade Laramie Tunsil, who's by far their best offensive lineman. Now Joe Mixon is out, and Nick Chubb's coming back off a year. He averaged 3.1 yards per carry. So what is this offense actually going to look like? They have an elite defense. I think they could still have a top 5 defense here. But like you said, the Jaguars are absolutely a live dog. I fully believe in the Liam Cohen effect. I think that guy's an offensive genius. My biggest question is, what is that defense going to look like? Because the Jags defense has been suspect for a long time and didn't add much talent. I don't necessarily know if I would have the balls to bet it, but if you're insistent on finding a team that's not favored and you want to bet on them to win the division, I think the Jags are definitely near the top of that list. I think it's going to be a dogfight between them and the Texans to win the title.
Yeah, like this division's going to come down the wire, I think, a little bit more. With the Jaguars, though, my biggest thing is I was looking for future bets when it comes to player props over the course of the weekend, and I came across our guy Travis Hunter at wide receiver. So you remember back to the Rich Eisen interview when Liam Cohen went on and he was talking about the percentage of snaps he wants to see Travis Hunter play. He was like, Hunter's going to play, hopefully 80% of the snaps on offense and then work up on defense. Basically, that gave me the idea that Hunter's not going to play a ton of defense. He's going to play a good chunk of offense, a little bit of defense more so. And that should be the move. You can't have him just playing both sides of the ball out. But the reason he's going to play offense here is because their wide receiver room is horrendous. Like, I think it was almost a disservice to draft Travis Hunter looking at their wide receiver room. And I like him to go over 750.5 receiving yards this year because of that.
Well, Dyami Brown's not bad. After that, the depth is not there. He's
not good. He's not a wide receiver 2.
Well, he doesn't have to be. He's wide receiver 3.
Travis Hunter's playing more defense, though. If you get into a situation where Travis Hunter was playing defense, he would be your wide receiver 2.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Dyami Brown, his NFL numbers are not great. I will say he did step up in the playoffs for the Commanders last year. He had 89 yards and a touchdown against the Bucs, 98 yards against the Lions. So, I mean, he did play well down the stretch. He kind of grew into his role as the year went on. I think he is a perfect wide receiver 3. I hear what you're saying about Travis Hunter. But the problem with that is also the Jags corners aren't great either. Like, they could use some help there. Tyson Campbell appears to be good. Jerry and Jones, I don't really know. And Jordan Lewis is your nickel. Like, that's definitely one of the bottom 10 cornerback units in the NFL. So he could help there. Maybe he only comes in on third downs. I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe he's going to play in, if they're using nickel in the red zone, does he come on to be like kind of a ball hawk, try to get the ball back? I don't know. I think he's going to be more specialist on that side of the ball, but he'll make an impact on both sides.
But it's a disservice to Trevor Lawrence in a year that he needs to prove it, that you're going into the year with Brian Thomas Jr., obviously clear wide receiver 1, Travis Hunter, who could be playing both ways, Dyami Brown, and then you go Parker Washington, Trenton Irwin, Joshua Cephas.
Well, I mean, this roster also isn't great to begin with. I mean, you can't fix it overnight.
You can't, but you probably need to go out and sign a big wide receiver.
I don't know if they knew, keep in mind, they knew they wanted Hunter because they traded up to second to take him. So they knew they really wanted him. So I just think you might be killing your team. You're killing your assets. If you have BTJ, you trade up to get Travis Hunter and you go spend big money on a receiver.
I think Travis Hunter, and I like Travis Hunter, but in the position they're in, like, I don't think it was the right pick. He's going to sell jerseys though.
So are you taking the Texans or the Jags?
I like Travis Hunter over 750.5 receiving yards. That's what I really like. Because if he doesn't, they're not going to score any points. But I'll take the Texans. I don't trust the Jags. I also think Liam Cohen's a little bit of a goofball. Like, there's those guys that can run offenses. There are guys that can be head coaches. I'm not sold on Liam Cohen, the head coach. I'm sold on him as the offensive coordinator.
Yep, that's totally valid. Get that.
3 favorites in a row. AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs -110. The Taylor Swift Chiefs. Denver Broncos +290. LA Chargers +330. Las Vegas Raiders 11-1. Is this the year that the Kansas City Chiefs do not win the AFC West, Grant?
Yes, it is.
Ooh. Chargers are you love the Chargers.
No, I don't love the Chargers. I believe that they're built with a high floor, so I think they're going to be consistent at the very least throughout the next however many years you got Harbaugh and Herbert together. How high that ceiling can go remains to be seen. I'm just so out on the Chiefs, and I know this sounds crazy because Mahomes is the best QB in the world, maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. We'll see how his career finishes from this point on. It sounds crazy, I get it, but like, they've been to 3 straight Super Bowls. Travis Kelce, his value is as a player is going to continue to diminish. His value off the field as a podcaster, that's going nothing but up. But on the field, he's getting older. He's getting a lot slower. It's become very apparent. I view them similar to the Green Bay Packers in the sense that I think they have a lot of really good wide receiver twos. I don't know that they do have a big wide receiver one. Travis Kelce has been that guy in years past, and I don't think he's at that level. A rookie left tackle is going to be starting. I do like him. Josh Simmons, I think he's good, but he is still a rookie. The defense is getting older. They've got young pieces, but some of their veterans, they have just left there, and those guys have not necessarily been on the rise. So I just view this as a year where everyone takes a step back. They're tired mentally and physically. 10-7, 11-6, tough schedule, something like that. Think they make the playoffs. Don't think they're bad by any stretch, but their years of dominating the league, I think, at least for now, they're going to take a pause on that.
Harbaugh's a little dirty dog. Harbaugh's a dirty dog.
Are you talking about the Michigan stuff?
He's a dirty dog, and he left at like the time, like he had to leave. The fact that anyone thought like this is bad, it's bad shit. What they did, and the fine's pretty hefty when I look at it. 4-year probation, $50,000 fine plus 10% of the football team's budget. That doesn't matter. Fine equivalent to the loss of 2 postseason college football games is bad. Fine equivalent to the cost of 10% of all football scholarships, and 25% reduction in official visits is going to be tough. They'll just do unofficial visits from the donors, but 14-week probation on recruiting communications. That's a pretty severe penalty for a guy, that's no longer, I mean, he was the head of it, but he dipped. That's bad shit.
Yeah. And it is funny that he got out of there as soon as he knew the punishment was coming. Like, won the championship, yeah, I'm gone.
Does the championship count though?
In what sense? Do you think the NCAA is going to remove it, or do I count it personally?
No, it's going to count. But this was just against Ohio State and the rest of the Big Ten, all the sign stealing stuff. Like I don't know if Ohio State had some good football teams in those seasons that just couldn't beat Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan beat them 4 years in a row now.
And that was with like the CJ Stroud. That was the CJ Stroud Ohio State team. There were some good teams there. So I mean, obviously the national championship is going to count, but it's still a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. With all that being said, give me the Chargers. Herbert, quarterback, settled. 2 running backs you trust. Now, Najee Harris might only have one eye, so we'll see if he can even play. You love Ladd McConkey. I know you don't like the receiver room, but they did add Keenan Allen, which helps, if nothing else. Not that he's a long-term fix. Really good offensive line. Although, actually, I'd say that I did forget Rashawn Slater's out for the year. So maybe that comes back into effect. I don't know, but I trust the defense. I trust Harbaugh to get the defense going. So I'm going to say, like, I could see the Chargers and Chiefs both being 11-6, or Chiefs 11-6, Chargers 12-5, and it's just a close battle.
I think the Denver Broncos, and you hate Bo Nix. You're a certified Bo Nix hater. So I think they're much better than the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Broncos defense is unbelievable. I think offensively, Bo Nix can throw one of the prettiest footballs in NFL history. And I think they got a lot more weapons. So I'm going to go with the Broncos. As much as I love my white wide receivers.
Who are their weapons?
They got tons of them, Grant.
Oh, yeah? Tell them to me.
I'll read them off for you. Actually, I'm going to pull up the roster so I can get them all for you.
Uh-huh.
A ton of weapons here. I don't know if you've heard of the weapons. Cortland Sutton, weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Marvin.
Not better than Ladd McConkey. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Ladd's white too. So that makes it. And the Chargers don't throw the ball. So it really doesn't matter who. The Chargers could have.
Okay, give me the next weapon.
Marvin Mims Jr.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the next weapon is Evan Ingram. That's their weapon.
Okay.
Marvin Mims Jr., Evan Ingram, and Cortland Sutton with a quarterback like Bo Nix. You got a good run game. You got J.K. Dobbins. You got a strong offensive line. You're going to play defense. Like, that's what it comes down to. They have a really good offensive line. You got Mike McGlinchey. Dog. Ben Powers at guard. Dog.
The offensive line is good. I'll give you that. They have worse receivers, worse running back, worse quarterback than the Chargers.
No, the Chargers don't have a good quarterback.
He's better than Justin Herbert is better than Bo Nix. This is not a conversation.
Justin Herbert can't perform with the bright lights on, because the problem is when they get down to it and they get in big games, they're going to have to throw, and he can't throw the football when he has to.
Bo Nix is not proven a single thing in the NFL.
Bo Nix was basically better than Jayden Daniels last year.
Oh, here we go.
Bo Nix Better than Jayden Daniels. He had that good of a season last year. So with that being said, I'll still take the Kansas City Chiefs to win the division -110.
You do this just to spite me. You don't believe this. You don't believe Bo Nix is better than Jayden Daniels.
Bo Nix could be better than Jayden Daniels someday.
He could be, and the pigs could be flying overhead when that happens.
Jayden Daniels just got 10 times more reps because he had the VR headset.
Bo Nix has the all-time college record for most career appearances.
Getting the real NFL reps with the VR headset.
So my guy invested in his game in the offseason with VR, and that's the excuse. How about you tell your guy to get in the practice, get on the practice field?
He was ahead of the times when it came to AI, so I give him credit for that, and it benefited his season last year. But Bo Nix, Jayden Daniels can't throw the pass that Bo Nix threw against Cincinnati Bengals.
That is so wrong. Jayden Daniels was the best deep ball passer in college.
This isn't. We're not talking about college. We're talking about the NFL, the big league now. Grant, Bo Nix dominated.
Jayden had more explosive plays than Bo did.
Bo doesn't have the talent that the Commanders have. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Terry McLaurin's the best receiver. Cool. They both had wide receiver ones who had basically identical numbers last year. 82 receptions versus 81. 1,090 receiving yards versus 1,080. The only difference was touchdowns, and that's not really a big stat. That's just kind of dependent on variance at the goal line. Same wide receiver one. Broncos had a better offensive line. The Broncos, neither team could run the football. Both teams have good offensive play callers. You would probably pick Sean Payton ahead of Cliff Kingsbury. This is not a conversation.
Bo Nix is a dog. That's what I'll say. Bo Nix. Cliff Kingsbury, I would take over Sean Payton in a heartbeat. Younger.
I think you're only saying that because we saw last season. Up until last season, the stigma against Cliff was his offense fell apart halfway through the year.
Cliff's a brilliant offensive mind. Like he's not a head coach. He's an offensive coordinator in my mind.
I agree with that, but I also think Sean Payton's a brilliant offensive mind too.
Sean Payton's also a good head coach.
Yeah.
Like he can coach a team, That's where I'm at. Where I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury can do that, but he can call an offense. There's a reason Cliff didn't take a head coaching job this year. I think he wants to wait it out, have a little more time with Jayden, and then get the big offer.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's because he doesn't want to be a head coach. I think it's because he's looking around the league and it's like, well, why would I want to go to the Saints, or why would I want to go to, I don't know, pick a team, the Raiders? I mean, their situation looks better, at least because they traded for Geno and drafted Ashton Genty. But at the time when he was making that decision, it's like, why would I go there, get fired after 1 or 2 years when I could just stay with Jayden?
He'll get the Giants job in a year with Jackson Dart. That's the job he probably wants.
That would be pretty interesting.
That would be. So to recap the AFC, I'm going favorite. I will not bet against the Chiefs until the Chiefs give me a reason to bet against them, really. And they haven't. They're still the Chiefs. So I'll go favorite. You're going 3 favorites and then the Chargers.
I'm going Bills, Ravens, absolute dogfight between Texans, Jags, and then I'll take the Chargers.
So 3 favorites and a dog. Now in the NFC.
2 favorites, a dog, and I'm not totally sure.
No, well, 3 favorites. Texans are still favorite, even though they got.
Well, I don't know who I'm picking between Texans and Jags.
That you got to give a pick.
All right. I'll take the Texans.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Run the film back. Texans. All right. Eagles. Commanders. Grant should step out of this conversation since he's a fan. He needs to repeal himself from the conversation because his word doesn't matter because he'll pick Washington.
Don't paint me in this light. I'm harsher on the Commanders than as a fan than I would be if I wasn't.
Is Terry doing anything yet? I can't.
Oh, so I'm glad you asked. So there's a lot of weird stuff that's going on. Last Friday or Saturday, Commanders had a practice. They activate Terry McLaurin off the PUP list. I think this was Friday. Activate him off the PUP list, which means they're like, dude, like you're not injured. It's cool. We're allowing you to sit on the PUP list because we know you don't want to get fined for missing practice, whatever, but like you need to practice. This was one day after Cliff Kingsbury said, without calling out Terry individually, he's like, all the guys who are available, we got to get them out there. We don't have time to waste anymore. We got to get ready for week 1. So the next day they activate him off PUP. Terry doesn't practice that day. Adam Schefter is at the Commanders' practice. It's like they're about to announce the big deal. Later in the evening, it comes out that Schefter being there had nothing to do with Terry being activated off the list. But I got to be honest. I feel like the two are correlated. I don't think it's a situation where, like, because Schefter was there, he was waiting to announce it. But the move between activating Terry off the PUP list and like the preseason game being around the corner and all this stuff, I think it meant that a deal is getting closer. And I still do feel like one's going to happen, because if they're going to trade him, I feel like it would have happened by now.
Yeah, and they need him. Like you guys need Terry McLaurin. So I think a deal will get done. With that being said, they can't give him the money he wants either.
Nope.
If they do, that's a bad move by the franchise.
Well, I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to give in. Adam Peters, everyone, I've seen some quotes come out from like other GMs and stuff. And they're like, Adam Peters is a hard ass. Everyone's about to find out you don't play games with him. He has this, nice smile. He's a very nice guy, easygoing, but he's just ruthless in negotiations.
So Eagles minus 135, Commanders plus 220, Cowboys plus 550, Giants 22-1. I hate the Eagles. I'm not a big Eagles guy. I'm just not. So I do root for Jayden. I've always been a big Jayden Daniels guy. And you know that since he was at LSU. So I'm going to pick the Commanders here at plus 220. I think a lot has to go their way, but they did play the Eagles very tough throughout the season last year. I think that makes a huge difference. Year 2 of Cliff Kingsbury. My biggest fear with Washington is, what does year 2 of Jayden Daniels look like? We've seen quarterbacks take the step back in year 2 because now teams have all year to prepare how to defend them. Not saying that's going to happen with Jayden, but I am a little concerned about that. I think the Cowboys are going to be a very bad football team. I think the Giants are going to be better than expected, but not anywhere near a spot where they can win this division. So it's going to come down to who can win those games between the Eagles and Commanders head to head. I think they most likely split, but I also think Washington is a live dog here. Plus 220 is too good to resist, and I think it's really hard to go back-to-back, and we'll see that with the Eagles this year.
I would love if there was a division over-under win total. Like, this division will get 35 wins.
So DraftKings did have that. I saw something on DraftKings where that was available.
Okay, because I might go look for that, and I might go under on the NFC East, because the Commanders, in theory, their team should definitely be better. Like, okay, let's look at the cornerback room. So last year, it starts off as Emmanuel Forbes, Benjamin St. Juste, and Michael Davis. Now it's Mike Sainristil, Trey Amos, and Marshawn Lattimore. That's an upgrade. The defensive line, it has been upgraded. Year 2, Jayden, I hear the sophomore slump concerns. I think it's a low to nothing. Year 2, Jayden should be better than year 1, Jayden. They've got a rookie running back they're excited about. The offensive line is better. There's upgrades all over the roster. With that being said, they had 6 fourth-quarter comeback wins. They had the all-time NFL record for efficiency on 4th down. I don't want to say things broke their way, because that's not true. Like, they went out and won those games. It wasn't luck, but they were operating within such fine margins that it's just difficult to get those 50-50 situations to swing your way every time. So even if they are quote unquote better, their record might be worse. I could see them going 9-8 and still technically being a better football team. With the Eagles, the defense is very young. I think cornerback 2 is a huge question mark there. The back end with, so I just stuttered a million times. The back end with like Makuba and DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell and Reed Blankenship, that's cool, but that cornerback 2 slot is going to be a huge issue. Also on offense, everything we know about guys who run for 2,000 yards is they're injured the next season. So what does this offense look like if Saquon goes out for a long period of time? So I could see the Eagles going 10-7 and still winning the division. I think the Giants, I want to say they'll be better than people expect. However, their schedule is insanely difficult. And I think the Cowboys are probably going to be trash. So I genuinely believe this is like Eagles 10-7, Commanders 9-8, Cowboys 7-10, Giants 5-12.
I like that. I think that's a good thought. And that's the biggest thing with the Eagles too. It's like Saquon, what are we going to get out of him? Because if you don't get what you got out of Saquon last year, it puts yourself in a really tough spot. I think Landon Dickerson had the injury, but that wasn't serious. That could have been very devastating for them if he was severely hurt. But, I think the Eagles, like many teams, are one pretty bad injury away up front, or, whether it's Saquon, whether it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Like, they're one star player away from being a much different football team. They got stars a lot of areas, but taking one away really hurts them.
Yep. And I just want to pull up their depth chart real quick. So that cornerback 2 battle, we know who the other guys are, but cornerback 2, it's going to be between Ja'Cory Bennett, Adoree Jackson, and Keely Ringo. And we saw in the Super Bowl, also you can just look up the coverage tendencies. The Eagles ran a lot of cover 4 and cover 6. Cover 6, obviously splitting the field in half. You got cover 4 principles on one side of it. So they need a lot of communication, a lot of good understanding from the guys on the back end. If you have speed in the middle of the field with your linebackers, and if you can get after opposing quarterbacks with 4 rushers, it works because you're not so concerned about having the open space in the middle of the field, but it does stress your communication. And when we think about Darius Slay and CJ and just the level of understanding that unit had last year, Adoree Jackson, Kelly Ringo, and Jacorian Bennett, they're not on the level of any of the outgoing players or the players that were on that group last year. Plus, they are new to the system. We saw this team was 2-2 going into their bye week, and everyone thought they were going to fire Nick Sirianni when they were still trying to learn that Vic Fangio defense. And the Eagles have a tough start to the year. They go home for Cowboys, which they should win, but then they're at Chiefs, Rams, at Bucks, Broncos, at Giants. It's a road divisional game, at Vikings. So that's 7 games where they could be 3-4, 4-3. And it's tough to win a bunch of games back-to-back seasons.
And the Bucks always beat them too. That's the biggest thing. Bucks always take them down in Tampa, so that's a loss right there. But I think with the Philadelphia Eagles, the cornerbacks doesn't necessarily matter if they can get pressure on the quarterback. If they get pressure on the quarterback with like rushing 4, potentially rushing 5 a little bit, which they were able to do a lot last season without blitzing and just keep everything in front of them, I think the cornerback situation becomes a lot less important. But if they can't get pressure, that's a problem.
So you're taking the Commanders.
I'm going to take the Commanders here, Grant. I don't necessarily love it, but I'm going to take them for you.
Okay. Well, I'm taking the Eagles, so
I'll take the Commanders. It's nice you don't believe in your team. All right. Then it gets interesting. Detroit Lions plus 155. I think Detroit's good enough to go to the Super Bowl this year. I really do. I think losing to the Commanders as a 10-point favorite at home is probably the best thing that ever could have happened to them last season. And I think we're going to see a very locked-in Lions team. They're plus 155. Packers plus 250. Minnesota Vikings plus 290. Throw them out right now. Quarterback's going to kill them. And then the Chicago Bears plus 550. A lot of value with that Bears team at plus 550. I'll tell you that. But Grant, who's your pick to win the NFC North?
Yeah, I'll take the Lions. I'm not a huge Jordan Love guy. Definitely, absolutely not a JJ McCarthy guy. For the Bears to get to win the division, Caleb has to be Mahomes 2.0, which at one point everyone thought he was. So maybe he's still that guy and it was just a slow rookie year. And if he is an elite level quarterback, well, they've got the talent in place to win 12 to 13 games and they could get there. But I'll stick with the Lions just because they have been consistently dominant for a couple of years now. At least during the regular season, they went 15-2, I want to say, last year. I do worry about them losing both of their coordinators, but at the same time, Dan Campbell, I believe in his ability to just galvanize everybody, and their roster is extremely talented. We were talking about the Ravens and the Eagles having the top 2 most talented rosters. The Lions are third on that list, and they're more talented than everyone else in their division. So I will go ahead and take them.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is just coming along too. Now you get the full year of Aiden Hutchinson if he's able to stay healthy, and this defense is really good. So they've kind of done the perfect draft strategy and just free agency strategy. They've built different parts of their football team out every year, and I think this is the first team that we're really going to see it all come to fruition. And I do think they make a deep playoff run here. Green Bay, they got a lot. They don't have the thing with Green Bay is they don't have the star wideout. And I think that's ultimately going to hurt them. Like you have Jayden Reed, Matthew Gold, and Romeo Doubs. They all have the same kind of profile. That's going to kill them. I think defensively they're strong. They also have the outdoor edge playing in Green Bay and in the NFC North, where everyone else tends to play in a dome except the Bears. But the Bears aren't that important. I look at the Bears. It's tough to. There's a lot of value at plus 550. I just don't necessarily think they're a team that can get it done this year. And by the way, Grant, I think we need to stop calling people Patrick Mahomes 2.0. I think that needs to end because like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are unbelievable, but they'll never be Patrick Mahomes 2.0. So like I think we need to start ending that conversation of the Mahomes 2.0 thing.
Well, the way Caleb was playing in college was sort of the Mahomes style. It doesn't make sense for Josh or Lamar because they are their own players and they are also elite. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's never a good thing to say this is the next version of like the greatest player there is.
Yeah. You're just setting yourself up to fail. Also, he was crying in the stands. Mahomes did not do that. I don't think.
NFC South. I have no doubt who you are picking to win this one.
Bucks plus 100, Falcons plus 220, Carolina Panthers plus 410, and then the New Orleans Saints 13-1. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, dogs all over the place. Emeka Egbuka, dog. Mike Evans, dog. Chris Godwin, if he has a leg left, dog. Kate Otten, dog. Baker Mayfield, dog. Every running back in the room, dog. Offensive line, forget, they got killers from North Dakota State on the offensive line. They got killers. Defensively, could be a little better. Still not a bad defense though. This Bucs team could go to the Super Bowl. Like, if things go their way, they could go to the Super Bowl.
I'm also heavy on the Bucs here. I think with the right coach, I could see myself taking the Falcons, but I just don't know that Raheem Morris is that guy for them. And also, it is Penix's first full year starting. Now, he played 6 years of college, and he got to sit/play 2 games last year. But I will take the Buccaneers, and I feel pretty confident in that one.
Yeah, they do have a tough schedule, though. That's my one fear with them. And that would be the only hesitation where I'm taking them to make the playoffs rather than taking them to win the division. You can get them to make the playoffs minus 160 for my future bet. I did that rather than Bucs to win the division currently. I will still probably play the Bucs to win the division a little bit, but I think the schedule is an issue. The one area of competence that I have is they won the division last year with all the injuries that they had, even though they probably should not have won the division last year. They got lucky. They got blessed to win that division. They were upwards of 12-1, I think, to win it at one point, just because of teams in front of them, ultimately collapsed. So that's my one hesitation there with the Bucs is injuries and the tough schedule. And Mike Evans, like Mike Evans, I don't know what we're going to get out of him this year. This is probably
also Liam Cohen leaving.
Yeah, but I'm not like that afraid of Liam Cohen leaving because you had Canales the year before, and then the current guy was like the passing game coordinator. And Baker is just, if you want one quarterback who can just deal with new coaches, new setups, new areas, like it's Baker Mayfield. It's like this coaching doesn't make a difference there for me.
Final division?
Yep. NFC West, San Francisco 49ers could have the easiest schedule in the NFL, plus 150. LA Rams, plus 220. Arizona Cardinals, plus 360. Seattle Seahawks, 5-1 right now. Grant, the 49ers will dominate this division because of their schedule. I haven't seen the Rams schedule, though. Is it that easy, too?
Well, Matt Stafford died a month ago, and they just haven't told anybody.
He died?
They're putting him in like cryogenic freezers to see if they can rehabilitate his bursted spine. Like nobody's seen him. He didn't actually die, but I'm saying he has these major back injuries every year, and now they're trying like experimental treatments on it. I'm not buying into that.
They really haven't like talked about this that much.
That's what I'm saying. They're keeping it under wraps, which is what they should do, but it's concerning.
Yeah, they haven't talked about this at all. If they can't win the division, if like the 49ers can't win the division, like the Rams with Stafford have no chance to win the division. The Cardinals have like a 1% chance to win this division, in my opinion. And then the Seattle Seahawks at 5-1, like I think they're probably in better shape than the Cardinals.
So
maybe
if Stafford was healthy, the Niners do have the easiest schedule that I've ever seen, which makes it easy to pick them to win this division. I would take the Rams if Stafford was healthy. I just don't have confidence in that right now. And I'm not going to lie. I got a weird feeling. Like it's somewhere deep in my stomach that I don't normally get sensations in that area, but it's telling me that the Seahawks might be a live threat to win this division.
They could be, but they're probably not going to be. I don't think the odds that Darnold is going to be good in Seattle, as good as he was in Minnesota, slim to none.
That is my biggest concern. I trust Mike McDonald with the defense. I trust him to make a lot of improvements. You saw it last year. I think he's one of the best defensive minds in football. You're seeing the improvements on the offensive line. Gray Zabel is a rookie. He's going to be starting for him. Cooper Kupp and JSN as your top two is a little weird because it's two guys who dominate the middle. So are one of them going to be able to dominate the outside? I don't know, but I'm excited to see how it goes. But yeah, Sam Darnold definitely controls the destiny of this team.
And is JSN a certified number one wide receiver right now? Because Cooper Kupp is not. So that's the situation. And I don't know if JSN he's a good number two. he's good to slot behind a guy like DK Metcalf, which was the intention when he was picked. So that's where it gets a little difficult for the Seattle Seahawks, I think. So the 49ers, like we've talked about it, they could be the 1 seed in the NFC just because of their schedule.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I have trouble buying into. So, I mean, we always have the Brock Purdy conversations. I still don't know how good he is. I'm higher on him than I was before. We'll see. I don't trust McCaffrey to play this entire year. Ayuk isn't coming back until at least week 6. Jawan Jennings is now injured. Their offensive line was terrible last year. Trent Williams is now 37 years old. The defense was supposed to be a strength, and then they lose Hufanga, they lose Greenlaw, they lose Charvarius Ward. They don't sign big money replacements. You're kind of, you do have Nick Bosa. Okay, cool. But it's actually become trendy for some Niners fans to blame him because he's hunting sacks versus actually playing his role. Michael Williams is a rookie out of Georgia with potential, but I thought Jalen Walker was a much better player on Georgia's defense than Michael Williams was. At times, Dan Jackson, who was drafted in like the 6th round, was the second best player on that defense. Malachi Stark's up there as well. So I don't know. They have this incredibly easy schedule. Seriously, the easiest schedule that I've ever seen. But I have so many questions about their roster that it is hard for me to trust them.
Going with the San Francisco 49ers. Plus 150. But it's not a safe plus 150 because like a McCaffrey injury destroys his team.
Yeah.
That's the issue. But McCaffrey looks good from what we're seeing. So
I wouldn't, you know what? Just because we need to make picks, I'll do it. I'll take the Seahawks. But wait for right before week 1. If Stafford is healthy and he can hold up, I would take the Rams to win this division.
All right. Well, there's our picks, Grant. A lot of favorites. I think this year is going to be a year of the favorites because the teams behind them really can't compete.
A lot of favorites for you. I took some upsets.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I just took just as many dogs as you did, actually.
No.
Yes. I took the Commander.
I took the
one dog. Like, stop acting like
one dog. I took the Chargers. I took
two.
Well, okay. Give me the. I'll take the Jags. You know what? I'm switching. I'm taking the Jags. I have 3.
Well, they have literally the worst group of wide receivers if Travis Hunter plays defense. So no, that's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, like you said, division picks are done, and we'll come back with a playoff picture before the NFL season starts.
We got week 0 coming up. K-State versus Iowa State, which will be a fun one. Got some good stuff coming in the later shows this week. So make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, like, share, do it all. And Grant, why don't you take us out of here today?
That's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. We hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure you do check out WSN.com for all your sports betting needs and desires. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.